Good afternoon, everyone. I am Cindy DeWeese, the President and CEO of the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here today with Dr. Peter Winchell, the Education Division Chair for the Chamber and the Executive Directors of Communities and Schools Bay Area. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Cindy. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for a talk with San Jacinto College Chancellor, Dr. Brenda Hellier. Dr. Hellier will update us on the happenings at San Jacinto College and how the community colleges across the state are working on workforce initiatives.
Our goal at the Chamber is to keep you informed on what's happening in our community. Today with San Jacinto College, and tomorrow tune in at 2 o'clock with College of the Mainland President, Dr. William Nichols.
If you have a question, you can email Chamber Vice President Sherry Sweeney at Sherry, S-H-A-R-I, at clearlakearea.com. She will share the questions with us at the end. We are pleased to have Dr. Brenda Hellier to speak to us today. As the leader of San Jacinto College, she and her staff are working tirelessly to ensure the success and well-being of their students and faculty. Dr. Hellier is also the chair of the board of the 50 community colleges in Texas. Let's welcome Dr. Hellier.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. And Peter and Cindy, thank you. And to the members of the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce, thanks for joining in today. And I'll try to cover some things that I hope you didn't know about San Jac and about community colleges across the state of Texas. So let me start out by, let me make sure I can get the slides working here. There we go. So in the United States, there's more than 1,100 community colleges, and in Texas, there's 50. And our focus is around academic transfer, offering the first 2 years of a bachelor degree. And that bachelor degree is, working with our university partners to make sure that there's alignment and that students transfer with what they need. We also do workforce training. That's associate degrees and certificates for credit, and then also incumbent worker training. And I have down here also bachelor degrees. So there's a lot more community colleges that are offering bachelor degrees, and normally those are in workforce areas. So for San Jacinto College, this fall semester, we're offering our first bachelor degree, a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And it's designed for a nurse RN who's been out in the field to come back and earn the courses that they need to get a bachelor, so a BSN, which is what is really being demanded in the workforce right now. Even though we have our first bachelor program, we're still going to be focused on these first 2 years of the community college, our mission, and we will really have limited bachelor degrees in the future. And then we also, again, focus on incumbent worker training. So when I talk about community colleges, I mentioned 1,100 in the country. There's 50 across the state of Texas. This is a map of the Gulf Coast region. And in this Gulf Coast region, there are 7 different community college districts. And I pulled out the purple there, that's San Jacinto College. We may not have the greatest geographic area, but you can see we are really in the heart of what makes Houston, and I think this whole region, tick as from an economic standpoint. So San Jacinto College was created 59 years ago. We have 5 campuses. We just opened our newest in August, and we also have our Ed Center down in Ellington. And we, on an annual basis, serve about 45,000 credit and non-credit students. 30% of our enrollment is in workforce training programs, and 70% is in academic. And at the bottom there, I say 7-member elected board. Our board is elected by our taxpayers, and the board members are elected for 6-year terms. Our next election will be in May of 2021, and we'll have 3 board members up for election at that time. This map shows you our taxing and service area. At San Jacinto College, our taxing area was established by the taxpayers that voted to create us back in 1960. And so the school districts that make up our taxing districts start up in the north, which are Channelview, Sheldon, Galena Park. We cross the Ship Channel, and then we have Deer Park, LaPorte, and Pasadena. And so that's our taxing area. Those citizens pay maintenance and operation tax to us, and also they vote on certain debt service issues that we do. And so you can see at the top of our district there, that little dot says San Jacinto Generation Park. That's a new campus that we just opened in August. And opening a campus during a pandemic is not what we had ever planned for, but the facility is great, and it's in a very high growth area. And so we really are looking forward for the future. And then you can see the rest of our campuses on this map. Down towards the south side, you see Ellington and the Edge Center, and that is where we're working with the Houston area airport system, Ellington Field, Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, and we are working on the commercial spaceport and really excited about that project. When I also on this map, it talks about service area. So while we have our taxing area, the legislature back in the 80s added service area to community colleges. And so the Harris County side of Clear Creek, or Harris County side of Clear Creek ISD, has been assigned to San Jac as part of our service area. So Clear Creek ISD works on 2 partnerships with community colleges, with San Jac and then also College at the Mainland. So our students, our enrollment's down slightly, but we do have 31,000 students that are enrolled with us this fall. That was the number as of today, and you can see the makeup of our students. 61% female. We're a little more female this fall semester than normal, but again, we're normally heavier on the female enrollment side, which is a trend that you see across the country. This semester, we're almost 62% Hispanic, and 41% of our student population is 18 to 21, and 70% are part-time. And so we are really an institution that serves a lot of older students, working students. We're excited to be named for a 3rd time as one of the top 10 community colleges out of the 1,100 by the Aspen Institute. And so we are competing right now for the 2021 Aspen Finalist Prize, and that'll be announced in the spring of 2021. And what that means is they have looked at data that's publicly available. They've had us send in a grant application, submit other documentation around our student outcomes, graduation successes, workforce successes, and so now we're in the final 10. And so we'll have an on-site interview at the end of October, and then we'll wait until the spring to hear if we're the winner. If we win, it's $1 million. It's a great recognition, but it's really about the work that's been done throughout this college for quite a bit of time, focusing on our students. And when I talk about students, we do a lot around student success and eliminating barriers for our students. And so I gave you 3 things that are the newest that we've been working on. For the last few years, we've been working on open books educational resources. And that's really trying to eliminate and reduce the cost of high textbooks that our students have to pay. Our board gave us this challenge a few years ago to look at how do we reduce those costs to students. And over the last 3 years, we've saved students in $14.9 million in textbook cost savings. And that's due to open educational resources, being able to have some online materials from publishers, and really our faculty getting creative about how do we best serve our students. And then we entered into a simplified tuition model. We looked at our tuition model last year and thought, my gosh, this is complicated. 9 pages of fees in our catalog. And, you know, I'm an accountant, but it was complicated to figure out what the bill was going to be. And so we have a flat rate. It's $78 in district tuition. So if you're in our taxing district, students pay $78 a semester credit hour. If you're outside our taxing district, you pay $135 a semester credit hour. 12 hours in district is $936 a semester. Out of district, $1,620 a semester. And so again, you look in the catalog, you see one fee and that, or one price, and that's what you pay. And so really trying to make it simple for our students and their families to figure out what they owe. And then we started a Harris County Promise at San Jack program. We're working with 3 Pasadena high schools right now. Those students signed on, those seniors signed on to the Promise program, committed to apply and to fill out the financial aid form. And then we were able to find resources to help them continue to go through college with either federal financial aid, Texas financial aid, or scholarships. We've had a lot of new things happening. I wanted you to introduce or meet our new leaders. If this was a face-to-face, they'd be here shaking hands with you. But Destry Dokes is the new executive director at our Generation Park campus. Alexander Aquana, you might remember him. He worked as our Dean of Health Sciences at our South Campus. He's been promoted and he's now provost of our North Campus. And Aaron Knight came on and he is the provost at our South Campus. And just know, as soon as we're back face to face, we want you to meet them, come out to our campuses, or they'll be at the luncheons. So COVID has been interesting. You know, we started the spring semester thinking things were fine. March went to spring break and it's been online since. And the technical courses that we had, really, it was difficult to get those all completed in the spring as we tried to bring students back, but we've able to do that. And so we looked at what do we need to do for the fall, and this is what we rolled out was online anytime, online on a schedule, hands-on, hybrid, and face-to-face. We're using that same model for spring, but we do plan to have a lot more face-to-face offerings. Right now, all of our academic offerings are online, and our technical courses are doing a hybrid, so students are on campus. It really came down to trying to build enough capacity to make sure we had those technical courses ready to go and so that students could complete. So in the schedule, students are going to see the face-to-face option. If we have to go back on to online due to COVID, they also know if they're going to be online on a schedule or if they're going to be online anytime, so they can pick. All of our student support services were moved online. Right now, we're offering online and face-to-face, and really trying to figure out how to best serve our students. And then you hear from everybody, what are the protocols? And so we have spent a lot of time on our protocols. We haven't had a transmission related to COVID tied back to our classrooms and our instructional offerings, and we're proud of that, but it really is a lot of diligence on our faculty and staff. One of the things we did through COVID is we focused on making sure our students were okay. And what you can see is we started a San Jack Cares calling program, and we've called 50,000 students, making sure this is your first online course, you're doing okay, what do you need from us? And what we've learned through this is technical challenges. Now we have a computer laptop loan program that is associated, so we know exactly the courses you're taking, what kind of technology you're going to need. It gets delivered to your house, so that just like a library checkout. We also put in place Wi-Fi in the parking lots, hotspots delivered to students, and then really just finding out what they need. Food bank. We had COVID money, CARES money that we were distributing to students to help them support, to make sure they had the resources that they needed. But it was really trying to connect with students. And I can tell you, when I made my calls to students, it helped you remember why we're in this business and what the needs are of those students and how nervous they are about things. So as I was introduced, Peter mentioned that I would talk to you about legislative updates and what's happening from a Texas community college standpoint. I am chair of the Texas Association of Community Colleges, which represents the community colleges across Texas. We put together one legislative agenda. And just so you know the impact of community colleges across Texas, we serve 748,000 students. We represent 47% of the enrollment in higher education. We're the most diverse population in higher education when you look at our student enrollment. And you can also see from our age breakdown that we serve those under 18 in our dual credit early college high school programs, but we serve a pretty significant population of non-traditional students. And so our colleges are in suburban areas, metro areas, but also across rural Texas. And so as we put our agenda together, we are looking at 2 major items. Appropriations requests. We get about 24% of our funding from the state. We are really concerned about that. I know when you talk to College of the Mainland tomorrow, you'll hear the same thing. We know the state's in a difficult situation. We rely on those resources, and those resources are important. Our legislative request has been put in as a flat request. We are quite thankful we were not cut when the state had to initiate some cuts, but again, we're going in with, we need to maintain our appropriations. We are funded in 3 different ways: a core operation funding, just as a standard, about $1.4 million for each community college. We get success points based on the success of our students, so performance funding, and then we also get a portion for our enrollment. The other thing we're trying to move forward at the state level is a workforce initiative, and this is really a priority for us. And what we're looking at is called Texas Reskilling and Upskilling through Education. How do we take and make sure that community colleges are the training workforce to help students who have, or employees who have been displaced from COVID, who are underemployed right now because of COVID or any other reason, get back in the workforce. We know our economy is struggling. We know that community colleges are the workforce training engine. And so how do we best position the state to get the economy kicked off? And so through the state initiative, we're looking at accelerating Texas back to work. We're looking at how do we make sure all communities are being able to retrain their workforce so that there will be dollars for San Jac, for College of the Mainland, but all 50 community colleges to help do that training. And we're also creating a statewide business advisory committee to help us make sure that we're understanding those changing jobs. COVID's left us in a much different place than we were before. And so this business advisory committee at the statewide level will build on things that San Jac's already doing with our workforce committees. It'll also build on what we're seeing from Bay Area Houston Partnership with their workforce committee and Greater Houston Partnership, but it'll help us get more of a statewide perspective. How are we going to get our economy back? And again, making sure that training funds are available to keep our programs low cost. We have met with our legislators. We met yesterday and in a hearing in higher education. Larry Taylor was there and heard our discussion of this. He's been in conversations with us before. We also have applied for federal grants, and we're again looking at this from a statewide perspective, that we need to be the resource for our communities. And so you'll hear more about this. I know Clear Lake Chamber puts together a pretty aggressive legislative agenda. And so this will be probably one of those topics that community colleges will come to the table and ask for support on. And again, it's been a really interesting time that we've all been through. But as I reflect back on what we do at San Jac and what happens at College of the Mainland, we're here to support our communities, and we're here to make sure that there is a higher education resource and workforce training resource that can really move our communities forward. And so we're always anxious to hear your voices and hear how we can do things differently or how we can help support. And again, thank you for always making sure that we're at the table on issues and making sure that we're here to present our case. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hillier. It's great to hear from you. I have a couple of questions for a couple of things I'd like for you to share a little bit more about. So the Ellington Spaceport Initiative, how exciting is that? Tell us what San Jac has to do with that program.
So we started from, I guess, probably the days when we were out doing some recruiting of businesses and being a partner with Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership and the Houston Airport System, as they have made presentations to different companies to come here. So the Houston Airport System asked us to help put together the workforce training programs out at Ellington. We put together a team of industry experts to help us. We went on best practice visits, and then those industry experts have helped design the curriculum that's being offered there. And so right now we have 4 different programs that we're working through around composites, composite manufacturing, around electrical assembly, and aeronautics technicians, and really trying to help train the workforce that'll be out at the Houston Spaceport. And we have a training facility that the Houston Airport System has provided to us. It's being renovated. And we were planning to kick off those programs right about the time when COVID hit. And so those programs have started up now. And again, designed to meet the workforce needs of that Houston spaceport. And so Intuitive Machines is a big partner with us, as is Jacobs and Barrios, and really Lockheed Martin, designing what do they need for that future workforce. And so there's a lot of excitement happening out at Ellington.
I know, it's been exciting to be on the ground floor of that.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Yeah, that is great. So I also know that as your role as chairman of the state association, I know that communications broadcast bandwidth, especially in rural areas, is a big issue. And so is that on your legislative agenda? Because there's just not, if everybody in your town is online for learning, it's just not there. The infrastructure is just not there. And so.
Yes, that most definitely is. There's been a lot of discussions at the state level around that. And it impacts rural areas and it impacts metro areas, the heart of the city, suburbs. So it is definitely an issue. And I'm excited that there's some things being done around Harris County. But again, it is a resource issue that our communities need. And so it is a priority, just trying to figure out how do we pull that one together and who needs to be at the table around it.
And who would have thought that would even be a legislative issue in 2021? We wouldn't have, 9 months ago. So at the end of the session. Yeah. Well, thank you for addressing my questions. I don't know if we have any other questions. Peter, what have you got?
Well, I actually want to congratulate you on the Aspen Award.
Oh, thank you.
I've heard you announce that year after year, and now you're in the top 10. I'm very excited for you. That's quite an achievement.
Thank you, Peter. We're really delighted, and the real winners just even being announced in that recognition are our students, because it's all about making sure that our students are successful. So thanks, Peter, and you might want to say a prayer for that interview in a couple of weeks.
Let us know. We'll be on the
Yeah, Terry keeps us pretty well informed, though.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right.
The whole board prays for you for sure. And Peter's our invocator at board meetings, so he
good.
Sure.
That's the right person.
Right. A question came through about the different industries that you focus on for workforce development. Has it changed with COVID?
So our main areas that we've been focusing on, healthcare, maritime, petrochemical, automotive, welding, the construction areas. We're still offering all of those, but I'll tell you, enrollment has changed. Maritime is still very busy. A lot of that is incumbent worker training. Healthcare, there's been changes because more difficult to get clinical space. Rolling out our Bachelor of Science in Nursing program during this COVID time, I was really nervous about, but we've got the cohort enrollment. And again, there's such demand for healthcare workers. It is really just trying to make sure that we've got all the clinical space lined up, and that we managed enrollment a little bit to try to manage that. Enrollment in our automotive programs are down, and I think that is we lost a lot of recruiting time in the spring, because we do a lot of that at job fairs and in the high schools. And so things have changed. On the petrochemical side, we have regular conversations with our industry partners. And I know we hear about layoffs and things. They are still hiring some operators. That has not been necessarily the issue, but there's, again, it's slowed somewhat. And so things are in a little bit of a flux right now. And I think, when I look at the enrollment in our technical programs, it is down, and I think it's people who are working had to be a lot more flexible with their hours, and then also they've lost some jobs, and so enrollment's been an interesting trend right now.
Do you think you'll see a lot more change of career enrollments?
I think that could definitely be a possibility, and a lot of times right now, it just is, how do you really communicate and reach out to students who are wanting to do something different? We have a small business development center. We have 3 different locations with those. There's been a lot of demand in our small business development centers to best support help them support, when PPP loans were being developed, or just even helping them maintain their budgets and looking at how do they maintain cost cutting. And so I think there's a lot of flux right now.
Well, hopefully this will help. This is on Facebook Live.
Okay.
It's also on our YouTube channel and on our website, and it's recorded so people can go see it whenever. But just getting that info out that folks can go back to school, try a new career, get some new expertise on whatever is important, and they need to know the community colleges can do that. So for
And
us,
we're here, and it is, we've got a lot of flexible options. And if you're nervous about face-to-face, we've got online, but we also have the face-to-face as an option also, because we know our students have a lot of different needs, a lot of different ways they want to interact.
definitely.
So do we have any other questions? Sherry, did you receive any?
Just those that I asked.
Okay. All righty. Peter, anything else?
I just want to thank you, Dr. Hellier. You have done a fabulous job not just for San Jacinto College, but the advocacy that you've done for junior college, community colleges around the state is phenomenal. And I really do appreciate and love the fact that you are representing the state with regard to that.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hillier. We so appreciate your dedication to the community as well. You've served as chair of the board for BAHEP a couple of times. Whenever we call you and say, can you come speak to our chamber, you're always available. And so we just appreciate you being here with us today. And we encourage all of you out there to join us again tomorrow at 2:00 for the second part of our Higher Education Digital Series with Dr. Warren Nichols, president of College of the Mainland. Lost that one for a minute there. So here at the Chamber, we are committed to bringing our business community valuable information. So check out our website for our upcoming programs. If you want to stay tuned and be connected with other businesses, please consider joining the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much.